Welcome to Wild Seat. Godzilla, an unfathomable destructive force, resurrects in modern-day Tokyo to once again terrorize civilization. Driven by death and despair, Japan must find the strength to overcome this challenge. A sailing vessel is shown at the beginning of the film. Several individuals are investigating objects inside, as it is uninhabited. They find footwear and writings from someone, and the authorities take these items into their custody. Suddenly, a storm erupts at sea, and the passageways begin to collapse. People murmur about what happened while a group of scientists grows concerned about the origin of the storm. Could it be an earthquake? Law enforcement decides to investigate, and the search begins. After the disaster, the population faces chaos. Although the police help, the passageways continue to emit smoke. Some onlookers are amused by the incident, recording and sharing it on the internet without fear. The Japanese government realizes the magnitude of the problem. A group of ministerial advisors believes there is a living being in the sea. A meeting between politicians and scientists takes place. The media discovers a colossal limb emerging from the sea, revealing the presence of a living being in the waters. Everyone is astonished and speculates that it could be an unknown species. Through a vote, they decide whether to eliminate or capture the creature, and they ultimately choose to eliminate it. The creature longs to move, so it knocks down trees and moves through the water, crawling toward a bridge and breaking it. Countless people are harmed. A scientist warns the government leader that the creature will cause great chaos and must be exterminated as soon as possible. Meanwhile, someone tells another person named Yaguchi that he knows a friend named Hiromi, who has extensive information about this kind of situation and could be of help. Yaguchi agrees, and Hiromi arrives to analyze photographs and recordings of the creature. She tells them that the creature is also capable of walking, but nobody believes her until the creature emerges from the sea and reaches land. The creature does not have upper limbs, but fins, and it appears to have fins near its neck similar to those of a large fish. It is colossal and lays waste to everything in its path. Houses tremble and objects fly everywhere. Panic takes over the people. The creature hits everything with its head and rear limb, destroying buildings, cars, and homes. The armed forces arrive to rescue the people, and the government decides that the creature must be eliminated as soon as possible. Military helicopters are sent to launch missiles at the creature, but they stop when they see people nearby. They withdraw and call the creature Shin Godzilla, a different and more destructive Japanese Godzilla than the previous ones. Yaguchi forms a team with talented and dedicated members. One of them mentions that some people have extracted a substance from the creature that has been investigated several times and sent to the United States. Others wonder what the creature eats and where it gets energy. Hiromi begins to ponder the issue and wonders why the ocean temperature reached 100 degrees Celsius that day. An individual raises concerns about how the creature obtains its energy. It is enormous, so what does it consume to stay alive and vigorous? This clever question causes everyone to ponder. Hiromi reflects on how the ocean could have reached 100 degrees Celsius on the day of the eruption. Perhaps the entity did not acquire energy by ingesting. She suspects that the energy source for this anomalous being could be a nuclear reaction. Those present consider it unfeasible, but Hiromi's intuition is confirmed when a nuclear radiation leak is detected not far from where the creature emerged. Yaguchi receives instructions from the American government envoy to locate a man named Goramaki, who years earlier had predicted the existence of a radioactive being in the Japanese ocean. In fact, he is the same individual whose vessel was shown at the beginning of the film. Before disappearing, he left abundant documents on his ship about his research on Godzilla. They also find a note on his vessel where he wrote, "I did what I had to do. Now it's up to you." Through their investigative work, they discover that the creature's name is Godzilla, which means a divine reincarnation. It is an ancient marine creature that came into contact with radioactive materials lodged in the ocean. Days later, Godzilla emerges from the water in Sagami Bay. This time, it is larger, more violent, and more powerful. To protect the lives of Japanese citizens, the Prime Minister orders the elimination of the creature before it causes more havoc in other areas of the country. If you're enjoying the video, please give it a like. It only takes a second, and it helps me out a ton. All available armed forces join together to confront Godzilla. They initiate the attack, but its resilient body remains unscathed. No type of weapon manages to even scratch Godzilla's body. U.S. forces also join the confrontation, and all civilians are instructed to take shelter underground. Night comes, and the location where the Prime Minister is also in danger. Everyone flees and sees Godzilla for the first time. The massive attacks from US and Japanese forces finally manage to injure it. Godzilla screams in pain and begins to glow from its back with an unusual luminescence. Godzilla emanates a glow while its mouth releases a large amount of incendiary gas that spreads throughout the metropolis. Unexpectedly, a flare bursts from the fierce creature, causing a massive explosion upon contact with the gas and encompassing the entire city. However, the King of Monsters is not finished. After the devastating attack, the fire in its mouth transforms into an iconic radioactive beam. Possessed by boundless fury, Godzilla turns towards the sky and uses the nuclear laser to shoot down a drone that attacked it in retaliation. 2 American planes approach from behind the beast and drop bombs on its back, but at that moment, Godzilla begins to emit similar beams through its dorsal spines, hitting the projectiles in mid-flight. Enraged to the fullest, Godzilla fires its luminescent rays indiscriminately, splitting buildings in two. Amid this chaos, the Japanese leader's helicopter is hit, and most of the Japanese ministers perish. After causing so much unprecedented destruction, Godzilla gradually begins to weaken until it becomes inert in the city. After this assault that razed Tokyo and released radiation levels never before experienced by the Japanese, Japan is left in ruins and leaderless, forcing the country to implement emergency measures. Witnessing Godzilla's power, Yaguchi summons the surviving members of his team and resumes his work, determined to eradicate the monster. Meanwhile, Kyoko arranges a meeting with the new Japanese leader. When everyone gathers, Kyoko reports that China, Russia, and other nations want the UN to handle Godzilla, but the Japanese government rejects the proposal, arguing that it is an exclusively Japanese problem. However, when the young woman offers the collaboration of the American intelligence team to investigate the creature, they decide to accept. Now with reinforcements, Yaguchi sends his men to collect DNA samples from Godzilla for analysis. In doing so, they discover that the creature can not only evolve rapidly, but also reproduce from separate parts of its body, just like an echinoderm. Upon learning this information, the American scientists become alarmed at the possibility of multiple Godzillas spreading to other countries, and it is estimated that there is a high risk of Godzilla endangering North America if not neutralized. This leads the UN to greenlight an extreme measure. Yaguchi believes there is still hope to protect Tokyo by freezing the monster, joining forces with other nations. By connecting their quantum computers, the group manages to discover the unique components of the monster and modify their plan accordingly. Kyoko also commits to collaborating, personally providing numerous American drones and weaponry to the team. Before the nuclear bombing, the Japanese government attempts to trap the monster and rescue their nation. They launch trains loaded with explosives at the enormous beast, which detonate upon impact, awakening the monster from its slumber. Drones head towards Godzilla and drop bombs, forcing it to expend energy by firing its laser beams at the machines. The attack devastates nearby buildings and several drones, but in the end, the monster succumbs as it exhausts its nuclear energy. Godzilla redirects the energy beams towards its tail and mouth, causing massive destruction in the area. The attacks quickly lose strength, and the plasmas gradually transform into fire. They proceed with the next phase, detonating the buildings around the monster, causing the structures to collapse onto the beast. The falling debris knocks the monster down, and its internal temperature drops dramatically as it runs out of energy. The giant monster falls unconscious after more buildings collapse on it, providing the team with the necessary opportunity to send in soldiers to apply the freezing agents. A convoy of trucks surrounds the monster and begins injecting the coagulants into its mouth, but after using only 20% of the required amount, the creature awakens. Godzilla opens its mouth and fires a powerful plasma beam at the trucks, wiping out everyone on the scene as the explosion engulfs the area. Suddenly, everyone becomes uneasy, reflecting on the possibility that it might fall again. Next, all the railroads are redirected back towards Godzilla. Upon colliding with him, Godzilla crashes back to the ground. Without delay, they begin administering the anticoagulant. Using masks to protect themselves from the gas, They direct the gas ducts towards the beast's mouth and body and discharge the anticoagulant into its mouth. In one swift motion, Godzilla rises again, but its fate is near. Its internal temperature has dropped so much that it freezes standing up and turns into a solid rock-like structure, resembling a fake replica of Godzilla. The entire nation breathes a sigh of relief upon hearing the news. Everyone feels euphoric knowing that Godzilla will remain frozen and, in this way, will die out on its own without obtaining food or atomic energy. The Japanese government begins rebuilding the areas Godzilla had devastated. But the adventure doesn't end here. I'll see you in the next summary video. Let's go!